Good morning students. My name is Jyoti from Kondur PHDD, Srikakulam district. I am a botany lecturer. Today we are going to study about a topic called recombinant DNA technology from biotechnology lesson, which is a very important topic, and an 8-mark question is coming from this lesson, from this topic. And we all know that RDNA is one of the most important technology in 21st century. It has a very great importance in this 21st century, as the farmers have been suffering several problems with the fields, with the diseased crops. At that time, this RDNA technology is playing an important role in producing high yielding products, crops. Okay. So this RDNA technology is not only important in this, it is also important in making different variety of medicines, antibiotics and also hormones. So let us study deeply about this RDNA technology, and there are several steps involved in the RDNA technology which are also called as processes. So let us see the processes. The very first step is isolation of DNA. Second step is fragmentation of DNA by using restriction endonucleases. Third one is isolation of DNA fragments by using agarose gel electrophoresis. Fourth one is amplification of desired gene by using PCR. Fifth one, ligation of DNA fragments. And sixth one, insertion of RDNA into host cells. Seventh one is obtaining a foreign gene product, and the last step is nothing but downstreaming process. So let us begin with each and every step in detail. Okay. So isolation of DNA. This isolation of DNA is a very important process. We all know that every living being is having a genetic material, and that genetic material is made up of nucleic acids, which is nothing but a DNA molecule. So isolation of DNA molecule should be done. This genetic material is generally present inside the cell. We all know that. Nucleus. Inside the nucleus, we are having a genetic material. So in order to separate a DNA molecule, we have to remove several things like cell wall and other cell organelles which are present around the genetic material. So for that we need several enzymes. For isolation of the DNA, we need several enzymes like lysozymes, cellulases, which remove the cell walls. And not only that, we also remove the proteins which are present around it by using proteases. And along with the DNA, we also have RNA molecules in the cell. We know that. So to remove the RNA, we use RNases. So like this, several enzymes are involved to remove the genetic material, to separate the genetic material from the cell organelles. That is the very beginning step called isolation of DNA. So we know that isolation of DNA is a typical topic where we are removing the DNA from other cell organelles and cell products by using enzymes like lysozyme, cellulase, proteases, etc. Now the second one is fragmentation of DNA by using restriction endonucleases. We all know that restriction endonucleases are very important enzymes. We have studied in tools of RDNA technology in the previous class that restriction enzymes cut the DNA into different fragments at a particular size. Okay. So fragmentation of DNA is done by the restriction endonucleases. Now let us study the isolation of desired DNA fragments. So how we are going to isolate the desired DNA fragments? How we are going to do the desired isolation? So now we are going to study about the isolation of desired DNA fragments. So how we are going to do this isolation of desired DNA fragments? Desired fragments mean whatever we are going to get, what we want, that variety of DNA we are removing. How we are isolating? Isolation is nothing but removal. In the other sense we can say. So we are using this by using a technique called agarose gel electrophoresis. Isolation of DNA can be done by using a technique called agarose gel electrophoresis. Here we are taking a gel to which electrodes are connected, both cathode and anode, that is positively charged and negatively charged. Now we are adding the DNA fragments into this agarose gel electrophoresis and we are connecting it to a power. After some time, the DNA actually it is negatively charged molecule, but DNA is a nucleic acid. I said that it is also having phosphorus molecules. These phosphorus molecules are positively charged. So DNA fragment, as it is a negatively charged molecule and phosphorus is a positively charged molecule, it slowly moves towards the positively charged part called anode. First it is accumulated at the cathode, but later on, as the phosphorus is moving towards the anode, some fragments will move towards the anode. And DNA fragments, how to identify the DNA fragments in agarose gel. So many of them are having a doubt. How can we see the DNA fragments? How can we identify the DNA fragments? So for this we are going to use a staining technique that is called ethidium bromide. We are using ethidium bromide. This is a coloring agent. When we are adding this ethidium bromide, it gives a particular color and we can identify the DNA fragments. Later on, we can identify the DNA fragments by observing under the UV radiation. This is also one more process to identify the DNA fragments. So isolation of DNA can be done by agarose gel electrophoresis, and to observe the DNA molecule, we can see by ethidium bromide and also by using the UV radiation process. And after that, the next step is nothing but amplification of desired gene by using a PCR technique. So what do you mean by amplification? It is nothing. It is also one of the process of separation. So this amplification, in this we are going to get the desired gene. This desired gene is obtained by using a PCR, polymerase chain reaction. Polymerase chain reaction, which is also known as PCR. This one is first invented by Mr. V. Carey Mullis. So this person, he also got a Nobel Prize for this technique, PCR technique. In this polymerase chain reaction, actually it happens in 3 steps. The very first step of polymerase chain reaction is denaturation. In order to get a desired DNA molecule, first we have to separate it from the double stranded DNA molecule, and then we have to make it into a single stranded DNA molecule. For that we have to do a process called denaturation. We are changing its nature by increasing the temperature at 95 degrees centigrade. By increasing the temperature at 95 degrees centigrade, by placing the DNA molecule at a high degree temperature, this double stranded DNA molecule, which is a double stranded DNA molecule, will be denatured and separated into single stranded template molecules. So this is the first process, that is called denaturation, and the second process is called primer addition. Adding a primer. Whenever you are separating a strand into two different double stranded DNA molecule into two different strands, one is the 5' end. We all know that 5' and 3' ends are present. From one end, one primer will be starting, and from other end, another primer will be starting. This is the process of primer annealing. And the third process is called primer extension. In this process, we are using an enzyme called polymerases, where the complete strand will be formed. Now there are two different fragments formed from a single DNA molecule. Means in this amplification process, we are cutting the double stranded DNA molecule into two individual template strands by using a process called denaturation, where we are increasing the temperature at 95 degrees centigrade, and second one is we are using the primers at the 5' or 3' end, where we are developing a new strand, template strand, towards the opposite to the template strand. And the third one is primer extension, which is done by an enzyme called polymerases. Finally, in this amplification step, we are going to get a desired DNA fragments. Now the very next step is nothing but ligation of the DNA fragments. So whatever DNA fragments we are cutting in this process, We have taken a plasmid DNA or a vector DNA molecule. We are taking another DNA of our desired gene, whatever we want, and we are cutting into different pieces. Now we have to join this plasmid vector and also the desired DNA fragments. For this joining purpose, we need an enzyme called ligase. We need an enzyme called ligase. So, ligase is an enzyme which play a very important role in joining the DNA fragments. It joins the vector DNA molecule with the desired DNA fragments, and then we are going to get a most important DNA molecule, that is called recombinant DNA molecule. So, this is our basic principle where we got the recombinant for the recombinant DNA technology. Here we are going to get a recombinant DNA molecule. Okay, now we are going to study about the insertion of the RNA recombinant DNA molecule into the host cell. So here we are using a bacterium called E. coli for inserting the recombinant DNA. Whatever DNA we have produced till now, the recombinant DNA will be placed into the bacterial cell. It is not an easy process to place the recombinant DNA molecule into the cell. It is a very complicated process, very time-taking process. At the same time, to impart or to put the recombinant DNA molecule into the host cell bacteria, first the bacteria should be very competent. That means we have to add a solution called calcium solution to the bacterial molecule, with which it is ready to take the recombinant DNA molecule. So as I said before, insertion of recombinant DNA into host cell is a very complicated process. It is a very complex process. It can be done by several steps. The very first step is nothing but incubation. Incubation on ice. Incubation on ice. So you are taking a recombinant DNA molecule and you are inserting into a bacterial cell. Already that bacteria has been kept in calcium solution, and now you are injecting it by using a method called incubation on ice. When you are placing these two molecules in ice, then immediately this recombinant DNA will be entered into the E. coli cell. Second one is microinjection method. Sometimes we can inject the recombinant DNA molecule directly into the nucleus of the animal cells, and then that process is called as a microinjection method. The third step is nothing but a gene gun process. So, like this, there are several steps. Gene gun process. It is also one variety of process through which we will insert the recombinant DNA molecules into the Escherichia coli, E. coli bacteria molecule. So, these are the three important steps where we are inserting the recombinant DNA molecule into the host cell. That host cell is nothing but a bacterium. Later on, I am going to explain this complete topic by using a diagrammatic representation. There you can understand how the host cell is accepting the plasmid DNA, plasmid or recombinant plasmid vector. Okay. Now let us study about the next topic, that is called obtaining foreign gene product. Now you are doing a process for getting a new variety of gene molecule, and that gene molecule you are introducing into a new organism, that is nothing but an Escherichia coli. But now you are going to get the topic obtaining the gene in a large amount. We have to get the product in a very large scale, not in a very small scale. As I said before, recombinant DNA technology is a very important technology. It is used in several important processes like increasing the yield of the crops by using for developing the antibiotics, for developing different variety of medicines for different diseases. We all know that. So there are several diseases which can't be cured. So such variety of diseases can be cured or somewhat decreased by using some recombinant varieties of medicines. So obtaining a foreign gene product is a very important step. Here you are going to get the recombinant DNA in a large molecule in a large scale. So to get a large scale molecule, you have to need a vast materials like bioreactors. Here you are using a bioreactors. So these bioreactors are under the control of temperature, salts, pressure, pH, all these play a very important role in producing a large scale of obtaining foreign gene product. First, whatever recombinant DNA you are placing in a host cell, E. coli cell, that should be multiplied. To multiply, we have to place it in a medium. Medium, we all said that agarose gel medium is there. We are placing this E. coli molecules, that is recombinant DNA placed E. coli molecules on this agarose gels. In this gel, these molecules, these bacteria will undergo a cell division and it develops so many copies of recombinant DNA molecules. These E. coli molecules which are having a DNA, recombinant DNA will survive. Those which doesn't have a recombinant DNA, they will definitely die. So, we are producing a large copies of DNA molecules, but it is not enough to produce an antibiotics or any other things. We need a very large scale. So, for that we are using a important material called bioreactors. So, these bioreactors plays a very important role. Nearly 100 to 1000 liters of materials can be done in this bioreactors. 1000 liters material can be produced in this bioreactors. So, several things will be controlled in this bioreactor, as I said before, temperature, etc. So, these bioreactors play a very important role to produce a large scale of foreign gene products. E. coli is really, E. coli is a very important thing which plays a very important role in producing. Okay. As I said before, obtaining the foreign gene product, we said that we are adding the gene, desired gene and an E. coli bacteria. For example, we are taking ampicillin. This is one of the plasmid vector or recombinant DNA molecule. When this ampicillin is placed in an E. coli bacteria, it multiplies very rapidly and it undergoes several divisions, cell divisions and produces a large scale of ampicillin embedded E. coli. What do you mean by ampicillin embedded E. coli? Means recombinant E. coli will be produced. If there is no ampicillin in that E. coli, that will die definitely. So, we know that, as I said before, in this recombinant DNA technology of biotechnology needs a large scale product. For that large scale, we have to produce in a large scale. So, large scale means we are using a bioreactors, as I said before, which is from 100 to 1000 liters and it is controlled under several conditions like temperature, pH, etc. and it is also like salts, etc. and it is also using a raw materials. The raw materials used for the bioreactors are nothing but animal cells and also human cells. Some of the microbial plant cells are also used for the bioreactors as a raw materials. Here we can produce a large amount of the biomass. This biomass is nothing but a recombinant DNA molecule. The large amount of the recombinant DNA molecule is also known as a biomass. So now this biomass is should be distributed or should be given out for the purpose, utilization purpose of the people. And that process is nothing but a downstream process. The last but not least step is downstreaming process. In this process, the bulk biomass which is produced in the previous process or from the bioreactors, it should be distributed outside. For this, we are doing two processes, that is called separation and purification. Whatever element we got, whatever recombinant DNA molecule we got, whatever desired gene we got, whatever desired protein we got, that should be distributed. That should be given by using two processes. One is a separation and other one is a purification. For example, large amount of the antibiotics will be produced by using recombinant DNA technology. Large hormonal materials will be produced by using recombinant DNA technology. These antibiotics and hormones, they should be released by using several processes. That process is nothing but a purification process. They should be undergone several clinical trials. They should go for the clinical trials. They should check quality controlling tests should be done for that. And finally, they should be released into the market as a bulk. And here, especially for the hormones and for the antibiotics, preservatives are utilized to release into the market. From this, downstreaming process, we complete our important topic called as a rDNA technology. Now let us see this rDNA technology completely in a diagrammatic representation. Now I am going to explain the complete steps in a diagrammatic representation. Okay. Now let us see. Here we have seen a vector DNA molecule. Vector DNA is also called as a plasmid DNA molecule. Vectors are also called as a plasmids. So first I have said isolation of DNA. This is a cell. Now here we are explaining it as a cell. So here we look at bacteria cell. Actually in animal cells we know that animal cell is like this, isn't it? A plant cell is like that. In this you are having a nucleus here and you are having several cell organelles and vacuoles, etc. So many parts are present in this. So many cell organelles are present inside. But first you have to separate the DNA. That DNA should be isolated. As I said before, isolation of DNA can be done. So by using several enzymes like lysozymes, cellulases, proteases, RNases, where all the remaining elements will be released out, except the DNA molecule. Okay, we took a plasmid DNA here. Now we want to insert a foreign DNA particle, desired DNA fragment here. Now we took a foreign DNA particle and that should be cut into small pieces by using or fragmented into small pieces by an enzyme called restriction endonucleases. That is our second step. Fragmentation of the DNA molecules by using a restriction endonucleases. Whatever DNA molecule it is, it may be a plasmid vector or it may be a desired DNA molecule. Any DNA can be cut by only one enzyme, that is nothing but restriction endonucleases. They will cut the DNA into different small fragments. So here a plasmid vector is there, a desired gene is there. Now I have also said that isolation of DNA. So here we have done an agarosial electrophoresis. I have explained that also. So many are having a doubt. How can we remove the DNA? How can we do that? A leaf is there. In that leaf there are so many cells are present. So how you are going to remove a DNA from the leaf? For that process we have to do a blending technique. Blending means mixing. By using a mixer we place the leaf and it is blended into a liquid. From there we are going to do an agarose gel electrophoresis. From that agarose gel electrophoresis the DNA will be separated into fragments. The DNA, which is a large molecule, will move very fastly, very slowly, and the DNA which is very small molecule, it moves very fastly. And I also said that as it is a negatively charged molecule and it is having a phosphate groups, first it is precipitated at cathode, negative charge precipitated. Later on, it moves towards the anode. That is what I said in isolation of desired DNA fragments. The next topic I said is amplification of desired gene by using PCR technique, polymerase chain reaction, where I said that the double stranded DNA molecule will be separated into single stranded molecule by three process. One is the denaturation, second one is the addition of primer, third one is the primer annealing process or exchanging process. Polymerase is the enzyme utilized here. So now here the desired gene is present here, cut into small fragments. You are having a plasmid vector here. Now these two molecules should be united. For this process, we are using an enzyme called DNA ligases. These ligases play a very important role in uniting the cut ends of the vector molecule and desired gene molecule. We all know that there is a 5' end and 3' end. So if it is a 5' here, it starts with a 3'. Like that, now here you are going to get a DNA which is nothing but a recombinant DNA, which is the basic for our rDNA technology. Now we got it. Here you can see the color difference. There is an yellow color. This is nothing but a desired gene. The desired gene is added in this plasmid vector. Now we got a variety DNA molecule with two different genes. One is a desired gene and another one is a plasmid DNA molecule. Here it is a recombinant DNA. The next step is that insertion. As I said before, insertion of the DNA molecule is a very complicated process and a complex process. It involves several steps, I said. In this insertion, the host cell should be very competent. it should be stable. For that we are using a Gaussian solution, which is nothing but the E. coli is taken here. This E. coli is dipped in the Gaussian solution. So now you are making the recombinant DNA molecule to enter into the E. coli bacteria. For these three methods is used as said before. One is incubation with ice. By using the ice, we can incubate forcefully the DNA molecule into the E. coli cell. Second one is by using a gene gun method, by using a micro injection method. So many of you may have a doubt. One DNA is enough for doing large processes means now we need large copies. So every process, especially the amplification process, 30 to 40 times it happens to produce a large scale of DNA fragments. So you need a large amount of the rDNA molecules. For that, and in this amplification, which is given by Mullis, so many times, 30 to 40 times it will be amplified to produce a large amount of the fragments. Here we are using some instruments also, and we are producing a rDNA, and now we are inserting this rDNA into the E. coli molecule. This insertion you are using in 3 different processes and several other processes are also present. But I explained about 3 methods. One is the incubation, second one is the gene gun method, third one is the micro injection method. Now, whatever DNA you have inserted, recombinant DNA, this recombinant DNA is now, it is undergoing an important process called as cell division. That is what I have said in the previous point, obtaining the foreign gene product. For this cell should be rapidly divided. For that, it requires a medium. It is nothing but an agarose gel medium. In an agarose place, you can produce only the rDNA molecule at a very small scale. But if you need to produce in a large scale, in a large amount, bulk amount, that is called biomass. For that, you need an instrument called bioreactor. I have also explained that. Bioreactor is an important instrument where we are producing in a large scale. The complete product will be given in a very large scale. 100 to 1000 liters product can be obtained. There, the medium to grow these cells is either animal cells or human cells or microbial plant cells. These three can be used as a medium to develop the bacteria cells to multiply. Okay. That is the important process, last but not least process, that is obtaining the foreign gene product. And final process is downstreaming process. This downstreaming process is really one of the important major steps. Here the bulk product you have got here will be distributed into the market. How you are going to distribute in the market? By using several methods. Directly we can't give the gene. As it is a gene, we can't directly give it like a chocolate or a biscuit. It will take some time. We have to do some processes. That is why first we have to separate whatever we got. Then we have to do a purification process. There are several instruments utilized here to separate and to purify the elements we got here finally. The recombinant DNA molecule or the recombinant desired protein or the antibiotic you need or the hormone you need, everything will be the end product. That end product should be distributed into the market by using several processes called separation and purification. So, for that purification, I already said that clinical trials should be done. We shouldn't directly give the product directly into the market. First, some tests should be run on that. Whether that product is good or bad, is there any side effects are present, is there any problem with that product. So for that we have to do a clinical trials. We have seen several times, several industries like what do we say, marketing agencies, several medical agencies, they are conducting a clinical trials. First they will give that medicine to some people and they will observe the persons, their conditions and how it is reacting on the body of the humans, and finally if it is successful, then only they will release it into the market. That is the process called clinical trials. Like this, several processes will be done. Okay, purification should be done, separation should be done, and then itself we can give this molecule or we can give this product outside into the environment. So what we got from this lesson, what we got from this recombinant DNA technology means our farmers, they are suffering a lot with the problems, disease drops. drought conditions where there is no rains. So to overcome these problems, we have to produce a new variety of crops. By producing a recombinant DNA molecule, recombinant DNA injected plant, we can produce a large yield even in a less water conditions, that is in drought conditions. Even in the drought conditions, we can produce a good yielding crops. So it is a very beneficial product for the farmers. Not only in the field of farmers, biotechnology is a field which is used in each and every arena or area. Okay. So thank you very much.